A one-group pretest-posttest design is a type of research study where we measure a group of people before and after they experience an intervention. It's called a quasi experiment because the group is not chosen randomly. Instead, researchers select participants in a way that is convenient or practical. This research method is commonly used in behavioral studies and other fields to understand how a treatment or intervention affects a group of participants. This design is simple in structure but can provide valuable insights, especially when researchers want to see changes over time within the same group. It has two main characteristics. The first characteristic is the use of a single group of participants, meaning that all individuals included in the study receive the same treatment or intervention. Unlike experiments that have multiple groups, like a control group and a treatment group, this design focuses on one group only. Everyone in the study experiences the same conditions, and no comparisons are made between different groups. The second characteristic is linear ordering of measurement, which involves taking a measurement of the variable of interest before the intervention, pretest, and after the intervention, posttest. The goal is to see if there is a change in the dependent variable, which is what the researchers are trying to influence. The effect of the treatment is determined by calculating the difference between the pretest and posttest scores. How it works: there are three main steps. 1. Pretest, measure something before the intervention. 2. Treatment or intervention, give the program, product, or treatment. 3. Posttest, measure the same thing again to see if it has changed. For example, your thesis focuses on testing if a new productivity app helps office workers manage their time better. First, you ask workers how much work they finish in a day, pretest. Then, they use the app for a month, treatment. Finally, you measure again how much work they finish, posttest. The change in their productivity can show whether the app worked. When to use this design, the one-group pretest-posttest design is useful in certain situations. 1. When randomization is unethical, sometimes, it's not right to randomly assign people to groups. For example, if a new life-saving treatment is available, it would be unfair to give it only to half of the participants. On the other hand, exposing someone to harmful conditions, like dangerous chemicals, would also be unethical. In these cases, researchers use a one-group design. 2. When randomization is difficult, in some situations, it is simply impossible to randomly assign participants. For instance, if a city wants to reduce pollution in one neighborhood, researchers cannot randomly move people around to create a control group. They have to study the group in that location. 3. Fewer resources needed. This design is cheaper and simpler than others because you don't need a control group or a huge sample. You just track the same group before and after the intervention. 4. Clear timing. Since the outcome is measured after the intervention, we know that any change happened after the program or treatment. This helps in understanding cause and effect. Threats to internal validity. While the one-group pretest-posttest design is useful, it has some limitations. Because it only uses one group and no control group for comparison, it is vulnerable to factors that can distort the results. These are called threats to internal validity. 1. History effects. History effects occur when events outside the study influence the results. For example, in a study on a new diet plan, participants might also start following an online exercise program released during the study. Any weight loss observed might be due to both the diet and the exercise program, making it hard to determine which caused the change. 2. Maturation. Maturation refers to natural changes that happen over time. For instance, if your thesis focuses on reducing stress among employees during a busy season, stress levels might naturally decrease after the peak season, regardless of any program introduced. 3. Testing effects. Testing effects happen when taking the pretest itself influences the posttest. For example, in a study on financial literacy workshops, participants may learn basic budgeting skills just by taking the pretest quiz, which can improve their scores later, even without attending the workshop. 4. Instrumentation. Instrumentation refers to changes in the way researchers measure outcomes. For example, if you are observing customer service performance, the observer's scoring might become stricter or more lenient in the posttest compared to the pretest, which can bias the results. 5. Regression to the mean. This occurs when participants are selected because of extreme scores in the pretest. Over time, extreme scores often move closer to the average naturally. For example, your thesis focuses on testing a new app for highly stressed employees. If you only select employees with the highest stress scores, some may naturally have lower stress later, even without using the app. 6. Differential loss to follow-up. Some participants might drop out of the study before the post-test. If those who drop out are different from those who stay, the results may be biased. For example, in a study of a new fitness program, participants who find the workouts too hard might quit, leaving only those who already exercise regularly. This can make the program seem more effective than it actually is. How to strengthen this design? Even with its limitations, the one-group pretest-posttest design can be strengthened. Keep the time between pretest and post-test short to reduce the impact of outside events or natural changes. Try to control external influences as much as possible. For example, ask participants not to engage in other similar programs during the study period. Use more than one pretest to see patterns over time, which helps reduce the impact of random fluctuations or regression to the mean.